A great way to add texture to your scrapbook page is by crumpling your paper. And there are actually a few different techniques to doing that. First of all, think about the paper that you're using to crumple. I have two different types of paper here. This is a heavy-duty cardstock, and this is a lightweight patterned paper. You can already imagine how differently they will feel in your hand and how differently they might respond to crumpling, but let's just take a look and see. So here I've got the heavy-duty cardstock, and I'm just going to crumple it up just like I was going to throw it in the trash can. And then it's kind of hurting my hands actually because it's so heavy. The edges of the paper are kind of not sharp but just harsh. All right, and so that's how it looks, just like with one quick crumple there. And then with my lighter weight paper, yeah, I almost was going to throw that, but I decided I shouldn't. Here is how that looks. So clearly, with the finer grade of paper, lighter weight of paper, you're already getting a finer crumple. But crumpling isn't limited to just doing it just like this. You can actually get even more of a crumple and a different texture if you wet it down. So I have a spray bottle of water here, and I'm going to go ahead and spray. And I've got my surface protected here with this nonstick sheet. So you wouldn't want to do this on your grandmother's finest wooden dining table. So the paper already starts to absorb the water just as soon as you've sprayed it. And from here, you can crumple it again. Open it up, and it starts to almost look and feel like distressed leather because it's so thick. So you could continue this process for a while. I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to go ahead and try this other piece of paper. And by the way, I've noticed on this cardstock, the ink color from this cardstock is actually coming out on my hands and down here. So when I go to crumple this this green paper, watch out, I may actually end up with some red on it. Yeah, maybe not. So look at the fine detail in this lighter weight sheet of paper that's been crumpled up. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's really interesting. It's a little bit therapeutic to just sit here and crumple paper. So you could let this dry as is. You could take a paper towel and kind of take away some of the water. And then you could either let it sit around and let it dry for a really long time, or you could take an iron to it. So you could put this on your ironing board. Again, I'd take some care because you wouldn't want to transfer the red from your paper to your ironing board. But take a dry iron and just lightly go over it until you've kind of pressed out your paper. And that's going to give you still a different look. And here I have an example of how those three looks actually are with cardstock, from the dry crumple to the wet crumple if you let it just go ahead and dry on its own. And then when you iron it out with a dry iron, it kind of gives a flatter texture. And I want to show you one other example of a page that actually used crumpling. On the title strip of this page, this is just a dry crumple. And it's actually, the edges have been torn as well. So I took the paper, I tore it, and then I crumpled it up, and then flattened it back out and attached it to my page. So those are some ways you can use crumpling to add texture and interest to your scrapbook pages.